Hey guys, sitting here with Lance. So I'm reading this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and he talks about the difference between responsibility and fault, where most people don't want to take responsibility for their actions because they equate responsibility with fault, as if it's their fault, and they don't want to take responsibility because then that means all these things in their life is their fault. So he says that there's this like dichotomy, and so because of it, what happens is people like to basically complain. So and I read about this in a different book where people's two great loves are complaining and bragging. So what happens is people become victims or have a victim mentality, and I can't say that I haven't felt this way sometimes. So I get where he's coming from. He talks about this fallacy between responsibility and fault allows people to pass off the responsibility for solving their own problems to others. So because they can pass off the responsibility and the fault of their problems to other people, it ends up feeling good. And so he says this ability to alleviate the responsibility through blame gives people a temporary high and a feeling of moral righteousness. And he says that the media does this all the time by creating what's called outrage porn. So rather than reporting on real stories, they like to report on issues that people find mildly offensive, and then they broadcast it to a wide audience because it generates outrage. And then you pit people against each other. And so he explains how people get addicted to feeling offended all the time because it gives them a high. Being self-righteous and morally superior feels good. Outrage is like a lot of other things that feel good, but over time devour us from the inside out. And it's even more insidious than most voices because we don't even consciously acknowledge that it's a pleasure. I've complained, and really it feels good. I round myself up, and you start complaining about something. You start, blaming others for your situation, and it literally feels good because then it's like, oh, it's this guy's fault, it's this person's fault, and And so he explains that although it feels good, it's not something that we should be doing, and that we have to be self-aware and see the difference.